welcome to the Dr. Dare Show. My name is Dr. Frederick Dare. I am a therapist here in Atlanta, Georgia, and welcome to my channel. But before we get started, please make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel, like the video, share it, and click the little bell at the bottom of the screen so that you will get updates of when I upload new content. We usually cover hot topics or mental health issues or both. Today is a hot topic and a mental health issue combined. So our topic is a toxic TOXI work environment or mental health issues leading to mass shootings in the workplace. The Molson Coors shooting. And I'll read that again, is a toxic work environment or mental health issues leading to mass shootings in the workplace. The Molson Coors shooting. So we've all heard about the Molson Coors shooting, which took place last Thursday, I believe, February 27th, where Anthony Farrell, age 51, an African-American male, who was an engineer at the company for a long time, it seems to be, and he's, according to like news articles that I've read, allegedly he had a long-running dispute with one coworker, and I guess that day it just got out of hand, and Anthony killed, I think, 5 people. 5 people, and rest in peace to those people, to those individuals. This is not, anything regarding them. Just wanted to give the respect there. So I'm looking at either the mental health of the individual or the toxic environment in the workplace. And allegedly Anthony felt like, I guess things were so bad at this workplace that he went on this rampage. And so that made me start looking at other shootings and other demographics of the shooters. And so the next shooting was at the Pratt company on February 16th, 2019. And the shooter there was Gary Martin, age 45, also an African American. And Gary was going to be fired. He was going to be fired, and I guess his mindset at the time was like, I think I read in an article, if I get fired, I'm shooting or killing everybody in this plant. And it looks like he had, a record that was overlooked by HR, and it seems like he had went through these, he had some issues with some safety violations. All of this is alleged. I don't know the stories of these individuals. I've read a couple of articles, and it seems like that he was, in the mindset of, if I get fired, I'm taking everybody out in here. And that was that case. And then the third shooting and the third company was the Va Beach Municipal Center. And that shooter was Dwayne Craddock, age 40, also an African American. And he actually, on the day of the shooting, turned in his letter of resignation. And I have to say, all 3 of these individuals, as you can see, they were African American, but people were saying good things about them. They never really, there was nobody saying anything negative about these individuals. And again, rest in peace to all of the individuals who were killed in these shootings and their families. This is by no means discussing them at all. And so I started looking at the age bracket of these individuals, and the youngest age was 40 and the oldest was 51. And it seems like they were holding all of this stuff in about the work environment or whatever was going on with them mentally. And we know African American men and African American community, we don't seek therapy like we should. Me being a therapist, I'm an advocate for therapy because I believe we need to get things out in the open and have someone listen to our perspectives, because these 3 individuals, I think their perspective was, things are negative around me and I have to address them. And unfortunately, it went the wrong way. And that's just a generalization. I know I'm taught not to generalize, but just kind of glancing over these 3 individuals, especially two of them, it seems like they were holding this animosity towards individuals at the workplace or the workplace itself, and they took it out on them. And the last one, I still didn't get a clear picture for Dwayne Craddock. He was just kind of a quiet guy, work as normal, and then, you know. And so then, as a therapist, we look at Erik Erikson's stages of development, of personal development. And so one of the stages involves, it's called the middle adult stage. Middle adult stage, yeah. And it's ages 40 through 65 years old. You look different places, different age brackets, but basically between the ages of 35 and kind of 65. And the stage is generativity versus stagnation. And during this stage, what's important to you is your career and your family. And middle age is where people take on greater responsibility. And to define the word generativity, Generativity, and you can look all of this up, Erik Erikson, no C, is when people attempt to produce something that makes a difference in society. And inactivity or feeling meaningless are common fears during this stage. So I believe during this stage of ages 35 through 65, you're looking for your purpose, because that's one of the things too. You're trying to find purpose, you're trying to find significant relationships and establish these relationships. But then you have these conflicts, and Erikson believes that if you don't tackle these conflicts successfully, if you're not meeting all the things that I just read off, then you can become problematic to yourself. And I'm always saying that to determine if you have a mental health issue is when it starts impacting your functioning. Say for instance, if you're going to work and you can't work because you're having this long dispute with this coworker and it's creating issues with you to where it's impacting your productivity or whatever, and it becomes out of control like these situations have become. And so I wanted to define the toxic work environment, because what I want this video to do is for people out there who are in a toxic environment. You may not even realize that you're going through this. You're seeing all these shootings and you're not understanding how someone can do this. And I'm not giving any of those shooters an excuse. I'm giving people who are out there right now who feel like they're in a toxic environment, once I give you the definition, to seek help, please. Because this is not the way, shooting's not the way to handle anything like that. Because what I always say, your perception is always going to be negative. The way you see things in a situation, we naturally want to go negative, like someone's attacking me or someone, you know, and it may be that, but at least talk to someone so you can get a different perspective of what may be going on. Anyway, so a toxic environment, I looked this up. Usually a toxic work environment is significant drama, kind of the infighting between personnel, you know, it starts impacting productivity. There's poor communication. Everybody's kind of in a bad mood. You know, rumors are spreading around about getting laid off and not getting laid off, and someone's sleeping with someone else, and just verbal abuse. A high turnover rate is an indication that I always look for in companies. If there's a high turnover rate, what is the cause of that? Negative boss. You don't feel like you're getting credit for your work. Maybe some sexual harassment, maybe some discrimination. The list can go on. Blame game. All of that, to me, creates that toxic workplace environment. And if you're seeing that and you're hearing that and it's starting to impact you and you're taking that home with you, please seek a therapist. Please seek. Going home and talking to family, yeah, that's okay, but they're not giving you information that you need to process this stuff. And what happened is, it seemed like for the individuals that we're talking about, the shooters that we were talking about, is that they let this stuff just build up and build up and build up. And we all can relate to that. But we really need to communicate. this stuff to somebody that can kind of lead us and direct us into a path of a better mindset. And so I just wanted, before I end this video, I just wanted to provide tips to all the people out there who are working and who may feel like they're in toxic environments or don't understand what's going on in the environment, because I think when you become aware, you can change and fix things. So one tip is, if you're feeling like you're being harassed or discriminated against, or and it's really impacting your thought process and your health and all that stuff, find another job. I know that's easier said than done. That's where you can find a therapist and go through a career development path, and they'll help you create a safety exit plan from that job to a new career. But find another job. I see this all the time on when it's too late after you've murdered people and killed people. This seems so simple to find a job, right? But I would have rather you have done that than kill someone. And the second one is to communicate with your manager or your HR. If you're starting to feel overwhelmed, you're starting to, every day you come in and you're hating this place because of all this stuff that you're seeing and you're not understanding, communicate with your HR and your manager, and if you feel like that's not going to work, seek someone higher than them. Again, if that's not going to work, go to a therapist so we can create you a career path and a career plan and an exit strategy for getting out of there. That's why I said therapists, they're so important, because they're that third person you can talk to without the judgment, and they can help you move on from one negative environment to an environment that you're accepted in, right? And then for me, I wanted to give this third one, is just go focus on your work. When you're at work, focus on work. Don't try to establish relationships with people. Sometimes you're in an environment where people are thrown together because they need to work and support themselves. We're not drawn into an environment of a work environment where we love each other. We all have different personalities. We all have different likes and dislikes and requirements for this and that. And that's why it's kind of hard in the work environment. My main focus when I'm at work, thank God I have a job that I love and that the environment is perfect, and the company honors and respects the employees. Find you one of those. They're out there. But yes, don't try to establish relationships. I've ran into people that are negative at work, and I learned, and it could be because I'm a therapist, but even before I was a therapist, if I knew that we didn't get along, I'm over here and you're over there, and I'm just going to do my work and go home. And that was my next tip, is go to work, do your work, and go home and leave it at the workplace. If it's anything negative, leave it there. And if it impacts your personal life, if it's starting to drain and drip into your personal life, it's time for you to talk to someone about that. Because work should not drain into your personal life. It shouldn't, And then one more thing, there's this thing called intersectionality theory. And that's when you're in, when certain social identities that you have could create oppression in a certain environment. Say, for instance, I'm an African American male. These are my social identities. I'm an African American male. I am a therapist. I am a Zumba instructor. I am a brother. I'm a singer, songwriter. I'm all of those different social identities, right? So if I go into an environment where they don't like music, I'm going to be oppressed because I'm a Zumba instructor and a singer. And so if I'm in this environment and it's constantly no music, my creativity is going to be cut off, and I'm going to be miserable, and I'm going to be oppressed in that environment. So I have to find an environment that accepts all of my identities. Because what intersectionality theory is, and I probably lost half of you, but stay with me. It's saying when you have more than one social identity, if you're just African American and that's it, you're probably going to have less issues if you start adding more identities, you're going to have more issues, is what I'm trying to say. Sorry, I probably lost anyone. So basically, if you have more than one social identity, you're going to have more problems within a certain environment. I probably went all the way around, but hopefully you got that. If you didn't, go look up intersectionality theory. It's a great theory. I've used it in my dissertation. It really explains what you're going through in an environment that you're being oppressed in, or you're feeling negative. There's something in your spirit that is not jiving. I know that's an old dated word. It's not congruent with who you are, and you need to get out of there. Anyway, I'm Dr. Dare. I probably talked a long time, but anyway, thank you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe and click the little bell at the bottom of the screen so that you will get updates of when I upload new content. And have a blessed day, have a blessed week, and talk to you later.